You are listening to the On Purpose Podcast. What's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's edition of the On Purpose Podcast, where it's our privilege to show up with you each and every week. Can't thank you enough for being here, for being part of the movement, for taking, would you say, direction of your life, for challenging what's around you and being purposeful on what you put into your life, what you listen to, what you consume, stuff that makes you feel good, stuff that gets you thinking, gets you moving. Too many times we pass the buck on that, right? We just say, oh, well, we're just subject to whatever's around us. And in today's world, I think it's very important that we challenge that thought. We take control and make sure that things that are being consumed by us, around us, make us feel good, make us feel uplifted, challenge us a little bit, help us grow. And especially if we're raising families, we're around other people we influence, being mindful of what we allow around us, because that's going to be around them as well, right? And I applaud you for being purposeful on that, for including us into your circle of positivity and taking inventory of what else is around us. And with that, I want to get to this week's episode. I'm excited to bring on another guest that after 2 decades guiding organizations through strategic growth and change, Kate Hendrickson turns the lens inward, reimagining her own path with purpose and curiosity. You know, those are two things that drive me, and I love sharing stories about that. So today, Kate has kind of redefined herself. She's a consultant, a podcast producer, and a storyteller, crafting narratives that blend heart, humor, and hard-won insight from her experience. I'm excited to sit down with her today and talk about just the transition and allowing yourself to redefine yourself, allowing yourself to move to something new, and find out why she believes that transformation isn't just possible, but it's intentional. And what she's getting out of the transition, what she's getting from the process of the journey. And I hope you guys get something out of this. Before we kick over to Kate in this conversation, do me a favor, like you hear every week, like, subscribe, share on your favorite platforms. Help us grow, help us continue to reach our goal of being the most impactful podcast in the world. Without you, we can't do it. Thank you for being part of the movement. Enjoy this week's conversation with Kate Hendrickson. Looking for the perfect escape? Step off the grid and into the wild heart of Old Florida at the Hideaway, a nature-based family campground tucked along the legendary Suwannee River just an hour west of Gainesville. Whether you roll in with an RV or pitch a tent beneath the canopy, the Hideaway offers 1,500 feet of boardwalk through untouched hammock, riverside trails to secret picnic spots, fishing holes, local springs, and a kind of peace that lingers long after you leave. Reconnect, recharge, remember what matters. Visit thehideawayfl.com to plan your stay. Kate, my newest friend, welcome to the On Purpose Podcast. How are you today?
I am great, Jerrod. Thank you for having me.
I'm blessed to have you, my friend. I was so thankful to meet you through social and see your information come our way. And I thought, man, let's bring her on and share her story with our community.
I'm excited to do that. And I have an interesting path and an interesting story. So excited to share it as well.
Yeah, and I think we all do, right? And that's one of the things I share so much with our community. And I always like to thank my guests for having the courage to put your story out there, to risk being judged and all the stuff that sometimes causes us to hold back, because the truth is nobody can learn from your story if you don't find the courage to share it first. So thank you for finding that courage.
I think it comes over time. At least for me, it has. As different aspects of my life have changed, I have kind of gotten a little bit more courage to put myself out there. So let's do it.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it comes with age too, right? Because like, at least for me, I look back and I'm like, man, what did I miss out on in my 20s and 30s? Because I was so worried about what somebody else might think, or would I fail? And then you hit an age where you're like, what the hell? Let's just go.
Okay. Right? Exactly. That's exactly where I am.
All right, Kate. Well, I'm excited, but I'm even more excited to get a warm-up in with you. I like to get things moving a little loose here and see what's going on behind Kate. So are you ready for this warm-up, my friend?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
You get one word to describe your life. What's your word?
Exciting.
Ooh,
Exciting.
that's a good one. What brings that to mind?
I'm not afraid to make changes. And I think I'm not afraid to do something a little bit different. Um, and I haven't always been that way, but my last 20 plus years, I really switched professionally. I haven't been afraid to move. I haven't been afraid to travel. I'm just easy. I lean into things, and if they fail, they fail, and if they're great, they're great. And that's kind of made me who I am, and that's exciting to me that I always have a new story to tell and something new that I'm doing. Friends and family are constantly asking, what's going on because it's something different all the time.
That's probably what attracted us to each other, my friend. All right, Kate, what is your favorite quote or a quote that's kind of guided you through parts of your life?
Man, that's a tough one. That's a tough one because there's a lot.
Give me one.
um, I would say never stop learning.
Mm.
Never stop learning. Always be open to learning new things, trying new things, um, growing yourself, whether it's personally or professionally. Um, just never stop learning.
Yeah, it's so good. So good. If your life had a theme song, what would your song be?
It would be probably Life is a Highway by
Mm.
the Rascal Flatts version from the movie Cars,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So um, I think there's forks in the road sometimes. There's bumps and hills, and you just kind of you get through it. You keep moving. You get off at some exits. You hop back on. So I'm gonna go with Life as a Highway.
Ah, such a good one. Such a good
Uh,
one. I always try. Here's what I do. I'm just going to tell you a little secret. When I ask you that
okay,
question, I'm always trying to figure out what song I would give you. But,
okay.
but
And what were you thinking?
I was probably going to throw you in some Taylor Swift, but I like yours way better.
Taylor's good. She's an impressive young lady. So
Yeah.
I'll take it.
All right. What's a favorite book or a book you find yourself going back to?
I would say I like the Disney Way. I don't know if you've read that one. Um, but from a professional standpoint, when I got into kind of some customer service related fields, leadership development, um, I've been in consulting, and I'm sure we'll get into some of that. I really started to lean a little bit into some of these organizations that just seem that it just clicks for them.
Mm.
How do they do that? And what do they do? And what makes them different than other organizations and businesses and leadership styles? And so I've quoted that and reflected back on that book a little bit over time. So I feel like that's one I kind of keep on the shelf and go back to when I need some inspiration or need to from a business perspective. Um, it just kind of guided me a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good one. I went to a training way back in the day put on by Disney. It was just that. And what I really remember from that was that they started creating their culture and their experience because they didn't hire people, they hired cast members. And as soon as you were hired, you
Mhm.
had a role to perform. And I thought that was so revolutionary at the time because so many times we get hired by somebody based on our skills, but we really don't know what the role is going to be until we get there. And then we have like, I don't know, this messy period where we're figuring out where we fit in, where we don't. And like they took away that. And they were like, you are hired. You have this cast. You're this character right away. You're a cast
Right.
member.
I totally agree with that. And I feel like, a lot of skills can be learned, but whether you're a cultural fit or not is such a huge part of the hiring process. And they kind of led the charge with that.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. All right, Kate, you get to have dinner with one person. They could still be with us or may have passed on. Who would you have dinner with and what would you want to ask them?
I want to have this great, wonderful, like thought-provoking answer for you, but to be honest, it's my grandparents.
Yeah, no, that's super good.
I lost them when I was about 14, both of them, like within a year of each other. And it was a time where I was I didn't quite get all the stories yet, right? Like I
Mm,
didn't quite get to know them as adults yet. I knew them as grandparents as from a child perspective, but I never got to see them from an adult perspective. And I would love to hear more about their childhood and their stories and kind of how our family got to be the way it is. Um, so I think, I mean, I know I was like trying to think of somebody that was just like good, like somebody good. And I'm like, but the real answer is, family. It all comes back to family.
Yeah, no, kid, I respect that a ton. And it's interesting because we've been recording now for about a week to get ready for our fall releases, and that answer's come up repeatedly, and that's grandparents.
Interesting. That is very interesting that that's continuing to come up.
Well, I think it's just like you said earlier. You're curious and you're
Mhm.
introspective and you're wanting to learn. And, when we're kids, our grandparents are these fun, jovial, but you don't have the life experience yet or the maturity to understand that they're people that struggle to get where they are. You just see them as
Yeah.
grandparents, right?
Right. Right. And now as an adult to be able to ask questions differently and to
Hmm.
have conversations with them differently would be such a gift.
So wow, here's my question. This is off topic, but I feel you got great insights. How do we change that? How can we create a space or an idea so that our kids, if you
Mhm.
have kids or nieces, nephews, whoever's around you, won't say this same answer in 20 years, but we can actually share those stories. How do we do that?
I think we're already moving in that direction because we have, I mean, I don't have my phone right here, but I'm saying I have a video camera that I carry with me all the time, right? And I have a handful of pictures of my grandparents, right? I have one or two videos from a big old camcorder that a relative had of a videos of their voice and their mannerisms and things. So everything else is up here
Mm.
from my childhood. Where my kids, I mean, I have video after video after video of my parents and their grandparents and their interactions and our holidays and celebrations. So I think we're moving in the right direction. I think the other piece of it is being intentional
Mm.
around those videos and those conversations, right? Are we asking the right questions? So, we can document it, but are we asking the right questions so that we're not, that answer's a little bit different down the road.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. And as you're saying, I'm reflecting, I'm like, well, this podcast has done it, right? Like, think about
Right.
we're creating an interview that's a timestamp for us on, the
Hmm.
middle of July 2025, but your kids, my kids' kids, we'll be able to pull it up and listen and be like, wow, look at this time they interacted. And I guess one of the things I've learned to appreciate is I don't want to take for granted that it's their job to ask me the stories. They may not even know what to ask.
Hmm. Hmm. That's a
Maybe
great point.
I need to create space where we have time to share some of this stuff. Whether I think they're ready or they think they're ready or not, you don't know, right? Because you think about, we have so many memories of our grandparents, but what if some of these memories would have been some of these conversations?
Exactly. Exactly. Yep. And um, I think we just, as we're, I think my kids are still at ages, we're on the verge of birthday, so I will have a 9 and 13-year-old soon.
Mm.
Um, and they're still at that age where, nothing bad's ever going to happen to them. Like, right? Like they're not even thinking about, when we're gone or what that's like. And so yeah, I think it's our responsibility to make sure we're saving and sharing the messages.
Yeah, it's such an interesting topic. I just shared with you just because it, like I said, it's come up multiple times. I'm like, all right, there's got to be something we can dive into here. Maybe I'll think of something on the side. But first responders, your strength, speed, and safety matter. That's why Veritas Athletic Performance delivers remote training built just for you. Led by Coach Matt Erdman, a 14-year law enforcement veteran and certified coach, our programs focus on movement, not just muscle, to boost performance and cut injury risk. Through the Train Heroic app, your training is personalized, monitored, and adapted wherever you are. Train smarter, serve stronger, and protect what matters most. Veritas Athletic Performance, your readiness is our mission. Kate, are you feeling warmed up, my friend?
I am. I am. This is great. I love the fast fire questions. It's great.
Yeah, I like those because it's well, like you said off the air, I think it's super cool for our audience to know. A lot of times when I bring folks on, just like you, Kate, I haven't had long conversations before, so I really, this is literally like just meeting a stranger, be like, hey, do you mind if I sit at your table for coffee and we just talk? So this is a fun way to get to know each other a little bit.
I love the how authentic it is. So this is great, Jerrod.
All right, so now let's talk about this. Here's something that what first captured my attention for you, and I love these stories. You were successful in the corporate world,
Yes.
right? You had done what you wanted to do. You had achieved. You were in this, but then you still found this hunger to make a pivot. So talk to me about that. Like, what led you through that, and how did you? And hit on, please. How did you give yourself permission to go seek more, even though you could have been satisfied where you were?
Um, that is a great question. And I think it took a few years for me to get to the point where I gave myself that permission. But yes, I was with a large consulting firm out of Chicago for about 10 and a half years. And then a little over a year ago, I turned in my notice and left with nothing lined up and ready to try something new. And it was for a few reasons. I think I found myself not having the time to lean into some of the things that I was passionate about. And I had some resentment there that the company didn't deserve, right? Like it wasn't their fault. But I thought, this is me. I lead my journey and my time and my path. And there are some things that I'm missing out on that I don't want to miss out on anymore. Um, that was part of the reason. I also found that I was really loving pieces of my work, which was I worked really with strategy and goal management and KPIs and helping organizations, very large organizations, kind of figure out what that long term look like. How to then break it down into these goals and then put it into your day-to-day practices, as well as teach and train your staff to understand how they fit into the puzzle and how they help the organization succeed and how they're a piece of it. And so I loved that work. But I only got to do that a portion of the time. And I thought, why am I not doing this more? Why am I not leaning into this piece of it? So um, ultimately, over many conversations with my husband and about a year and a half of going, what do I do? What do I do? Ultimately made the decision to leave with nothing lined up. I took a summer off. Just said, I'm not even going to look for anything else. I'm not going to lean into anything, and I'm just going to spend it with my kids. And we haven't gotten there yet, but I live in Florida, in the panhandle of Florida, near the Pensacola area in Gulf Breeze. I'm 10 to 15 minutes from the beach, from the front door to the white sands, And so I thought, I live in paradise. Let me spend the summer and really figure out what's next. Let me sleep in with my kids. Let me take them to the beach on a Tuesday afternoon. Let me let them lean into what they're interested in and do some kind of fun camps and activities and things. So I took this summer and enjoyed it and loved it. And then kids went back to school and thought, okay, I need to get it together and figure out really what's next. So I had written for years for a local blog. I write for a local magazine, and I've always wanted to write a book, and so started putting pen to paper and writing a book. I also reached out to some friends and colleagues and said, I kind of want to do some of the strategy work on my own. And really help small and medium-sized businesses that maybe can't afford the large consulting firms and can't afford strategists and can't afford to have somebody on their payroll doing this work. But I can help, and I can come in and kick them off and get them started, explain the process, and then check in every so often. Um, so I started doing that a little bit. I was connected to a husband and wife consulting team who does this similar work. They're the virtual CFO for the trades, for the garage door industries, the plumbing industries, right? They help your HVAC companies that are these individuals who are necessities in our community that really know their skill, they know their stuff,
Mm.
right? They know the trades, but they may not know the business side of things or the financial piece of things or leadership, how to be a, strong leader and build the right culture. So I would do some work with them. I still work with them. I do some work on my own. I write. And so it's been really fun kind of figuring out all of these pieces. Of my skill set, of my passions. So I've kind of called myself, while they have the fractional executives, I'm like a fractional professional that in multiple different industries and areas. And so that's kind of where I sit now. I have a little piece of a pie in a lot of different places, and I'm loving it.
Kate, do me a favor. Let's go back a second. I think what you said something is so important there, and I did the same thing or a similar thing in my transition from a career to figuring out what I want to do next, and that was giving myself space to not know the answers.
Yes. Yes.
Talk me through giving yourself that space, and what did you learn about yourself by not putting the pressure on to automatically have the answers there?
Um, I think I learned that it's okay to put myself first sometimes, right? And so I think as a professional, a working parent, a lot of times everything else comes first. So your profession comes first, your children come first, your husband comes first, your friends come first, right? Everything else, and then you're kind of on the back burner, and you're the last one up in the house at night doing the last minute things because everything else came first during the day, or um, and I think it's okay to say, I need this for me, and give yourself that time and space. So, in addition to leaning into the summer and my children and all, I leaned into myself a little bit and did take the time to evaluate what did I want to do, what I want to do next. Um, I spent time, lunches with friends or things by myself or reading a book. And I gave myself the permission to do that and put myself first sometimes. And so I learned that's okay. Like, it's okay to do that, and that we all deserve that.
Yeah, that's well said, and I think truly important for the moms out there. I think they feel that weight a lot, right? Just
Mhm.
what my experience. And then a lot of times when we do give ourselves that space, there's this accompanying guilt that I should be doing something different.
Yes, yes, it absolutely comes with the guilt. The mom guilt is a real thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's good that you work through that. And I think that's where you truly find what's going to be next is kind of going back to your analogy of the life is a highway, right? It's like sometimes we think, okay, we're going to go from this to this and we force it. But really, if we give ourselves that space, we're going to find there's a whole new path in there, like a whole new exit off the highway that we would have missed if
Exactly.
if we'd have tried to force it.
Yep, yep, and I think sometimes all of us, but, people just they have a trajectory, and if it changes, it's scary, and they're not sure if they want to, or can make that change. And I think learning that that's okay, for things to shift and change. I actually left when I left the consulting firm. I left on great terms and said, I don't know, I'll maybe be back in 6 months or a year, right? I might be applying for a job to come right back because I don't know what's going to happen and I don't know what's next. And but allowing myself that time to figure that out was really helpful.
Yeah, and I think what you said there is so important, right? We have this idea in today's world that every decision we make is so permanent. We have to
Permanent,
weigh
yeah.
all these factors. Oh my God, if I mean, but you said it best, right? Like, I don't know what's next. I might come back in 6 months.
Mhm.
I might not,
Right.
but I might, right? Because we don't have to
Right.
put this pressure. I think I talk to my kids about this all the time, Kate. Quit thinking every decision is life altering. Most of them are not.
Right.
Right,
Right.
make a decision. If it doesn't work, pivot. But what you're going to find is by making a decision, the one you made may not be where you end up, but it might open a door to somewhere else.
Mhm.
But if we sit back
Exactly.
and we refuse to make decisions, or we only stay with what we already know because everything is so monumental, so life changing, well, one, that's not very fun to live that way, and two, where's the curiosity?
Yes. And how do you grow? How do you grow as a human, as a person, as a parent, as a professional, as a right, as a friend, how
Right.
do you continue to grow if you're kind of staying that box or on that same road or lane? Um, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'm gonna reflect back about 20, I don't even know how many years, 20 years. Um, I'm from the New Orleans area originally. I love New Orleans. I don't live there anymore, and I'm good with that. But it never leaves you. Like that culture, the
Yeah.
food, the lifestyle, it never leaves you. And I'm very proud to be from the New Orleans area. I have family that's still there, and I was born and raised in that area. I went to college there. I started my professional career there, and then Hurricane Katrina hit.
Mm.
But I never thought I was going to leave. I mean, that was home. That was all I knew. Like that state was all I knew, and I had no intentions of leaving. This was my life, and this is what we did. This is our family. We didn't leave. We all stayed, and we built our families and our homes there. And then when Katrina hit, I was working in the TV and film industry at the time. And there was no work for me. I mean, everything was gone.
Mhm.
So I picked up and moved to Los Angeles by myself. And man, I really think that decision was kind of where it clicked that I can go anywhere and I can do anything and nothing's permanent and so I lived in LA for about 3 years, and then that's where I came back down to the South. But I it was just I really think that was a pivotal moment in my life where I realized that I can go down different highways and different journeys, and I can, make a U-turn, right? Turn around and go back. I can do that. And so that was a really exciting but learning and a very important part of my life.
No, I love it, and I love that you just did it.
Hmm. It's a crazy story. We evacuated with 3 days worth of clothes. My family, I had aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, parents, everybody. We all just caravanned up to Arkansas. I had 3 days worth of clothes, thinking that we were going to be turning around and coming right back, and then everything was gone. And I remember I was speaking to a colleague who lived in Los Angeles on the phone, and they said, "What are you doing? Are you okay? Can you come out here? Or what do you want to do?" And they said, "Come here." And I thought, "Oh, okay." So I remember I went back into the hotel room that we were staying in and told my parents, "I'm moving to LA." And I mean, at this point, I mean, you can imagine the stress our whole
Mhm.
family was under at the time. And I was 24, 25 years old and going, all right, I'm going to leave you guys here in Arkansas. I'm not even going home, and I'm moving to Los Angeles with 3 days worth of clothes. And um, my parents, luckily, were very supportive and said, "Go. I mean, there's nothing for you at home. Go figure it out. Go live
Mm.
your life and explore." And so I did, and it was incredible, scary, but incredible.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be scary, right? Like that means you're doing something worthwhile if you have a little bit of fear in you.
Right, right, yes. And I went to the Red Cross, and we went to the Red Cross in Arkansas for help. We went to the Red Cross in Los Angeles, and I never thought I would need help from that. I was the one giving to the Red Cross.
Right.
I never thought I would be on the other side of that. But I needed help, and that was a humbling experience as well. But I found my way.
Yeah. And we all do, right? We all find our way.
Yes.
It's just when we give ourselves permission to make sure that our way doesn't have to look like everybody else's way.
Oh, Jared, that's exactly right. Exactly right. No journey needs to look exactly the same. I know. I feel the same way.
And that's, I think, sometimes we do a disservice to our children or our friends' children, or when we're around and we go to a graduation, and the first question we ask them is, "What do you want to do? What do you want
Hmm.
to do?" Right? And if you stop and ask the adults, "Did you know what you wanted to do at 18? And are you actually doing that now?" The vast majority
Right.
are not.
No. Right.
So we don't need to put pressure on the kids to know what they want to do. Go figure out who you want to become.
Yes. 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 And I think at the end of the day, as a parent, all I really care about is that they're a happy, healthy human, right? Like,
Right.
I want to make sure that they they understand and know that they can go anywhere and they can do anything, and they are living a life with purpose, and they
Mm,
do, they are a good person to others, right? So
yeah.
I think at the end of the day, that's what we all really want. So you're right, asking them at that such a young age to figure it out doesn't necessarily make sense.
No, and your parents were right, right? When you faced with Katrina and all the turmoil, you told them you're moving. They didn't tell you all the reasons not to. They
Yes,
encouraged you to do it,
they did. They did. Um,
right?
And actually, my mom and I got in the car from Arkansas.
Love
She
it.
drove with me. And then once we got to LA, she flew back to Arkansas to meet back up with my dad for them to just start the cleanup, start the process,
Mm.
start over. But man, now as a parent, I'm thinking, man, that must have been tough, right? Like that must have been such a tough thing to
Yeah.
do. And they knew that this is what I needed, and they were able to let go. I feel so bad now, but we were at the airport and my mom's getting ready to get on the plane, and I start going, "No, don't leave me! No, don't go!" Like, and she, poor thing, and she left anyway. She left me there. She left anyway and said, "You need this, and and I need to go back and
Mm.
reset." And so, man, I think back and cannot even imagine what that must have been like.
Think about the courage they had to face, because every fear in their body probably says, no, keep our baby girl home with us. Let's all
Yes.
do this together. But they
Yes.
knew that wouldn't be the right answer for you.
Correct.
Even if
Yes.
you didn't know that wasn't really the right answer.
Right? Yes. Yes. But
And
I'm so grateful because that time in my life, it was just good, right? Like I just grew as a woman, just grew into someone who had more courage,
for
right? And
sure.
and I grew into someone who um felt confident in myself, right? I
Love it.
felt the confidence I built over that time was just it led me to, where I am.
Yeah, and look at you now, right? And look at all the things you're doing, the things you've achieved, the family you've created, the courage you have to pivot to go, wait, I'm missing on stuff, missing out on things I don't want to miss out on anymore. I'm gonna bet on myself that I can do this and be part of that.
Yes.
A
Yes.
lot of that's gonna go back to these moments that seem small in our life. But when somebody also believes in us and says, yes, you can do this, go do it, that ripple effect plays out forever.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, it absolutely has led to where I'm at, and the ripple effect. You're exactly right. Um, the funny thing is, when you were just talking about, I'm gonna rewind a second. You were just talking about if things are scary, it's
Mhm.
worth it, right? If things are scary, it's exciting. And so that's what I'm right back to there right now in my life, because I've written this book and I'm about to put it out in the world and give it to everyone. So it's going to be released in November, and I think, man, this is all those same scary feelings are back of saying like this is mine, and I'm protecting it right now, but it's
Mhm.
about to be released into the world, and I feel a little exposed and letting it out there. So you continue to be scared, right? I think it doesn't stop when you're 25 or 30 or 35 or 40. Continue to put yourself in those situations because you'll continue to grow, and um,
Yeah, and
it's
and look at the legacy you're creating. Look at the modeling you're doing for your kids, right? Not only, and I've always thought this, right? And I share this a lot, is kids only listen to about like 10% of what you say, but they watch
Mhm.
100% of what you do. Right. So they're
Yes.
seeing mom live with courage. They're seeing mom live with, oh my God, I'm going to hit send and send out this book to be judged by every other book in the history of the world. And you're doing it.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
It's
So,
sweet. My
hell yeah, it
my
is. It's,
almost 9-year-old is he saw the book, the cover, and got all excited, and he said, "We're gonna be famous." Just fun.
yeah,
It
I
was just
love
such
it.
a sweet, like reaction
Mm.
to it. But it was really special. It was really special when they saw it and they saw mom did that. It was just cool.
And think of how many parents their kids will never experience something like that because the parents, like you said earlier, lose themselves in just parenting. They lose themselves in working for a company to get to a pension, to get to a retirement, and the kids never see parents taking that big risk. They never see them making that big change. But
Right.
they'll hear conversations at the dinner table about how they don't want to go to work, how they don't enjoy their job, how they can't wait for the weekend. Oh, it's Sunday night, I don't want to go to work. They hear that, right? And that's what I'm saying is, like, I applaud you, and you don't even know yet the impact this decision is going to have on who your kids become. But I guarantee it's not going to hurt them.
Jerrod, I hope you're right.
I guarantee it.
I agree.
I guarantee it. Like, you don't get courageous by not doing courageous stuff.
Yes. Yes.
And
I will say, I also want to make sure it's clear that I think any journey, any path, any highway people take, right? Going back to this, I'm going to keep referencing that life as a highway. I think is okay. And I think that's another piece, right? If you are in the corporate world and you love it, you love climbing that ladder, you love the work you do, you don't, you're not waking up going, oh, I wish I was doing something else, then that's cool. That's amazing and cool too. Like, I think it's accepting that whatever path, journey, highway you're on, is okay as long as you're happy with it and you're content with it. And there's something that we do as a family, and definitely kind of a call to action for your listeners to maybe try it as well, is we do a life audit every year, my husband and I, and we go, where are we personally? Where are we professionally? And is it lined up with what we want? Or have we gone off course a little bit? And so we really look at, is our relationship where we want it to be? Are we making time for the date nights, and are we making time for the conversations and making time for each other, or making time to binge watch a show because we get to do it together, right?
Right.
Are we financially heading in the direction we want to go to live the lifestyle that we want to live? Are we helping our community, right? What are we doing in our local area that helps us give back and helps teach our kids how to give back? So we audit all of these things in our lives, and sometimes we're doing awesome and sometimes we're not.
Yeah.
And so, and then we do the same thing professionally, right? Is it still is the work that we're doing professionally still bringing us joy? And are we at a place to make a change? So when my husband and I started talking about me making the change, it just logically didn't make sense yet, but we knew eventually I would leave the larger consulting firm and do something else. But we timed it out and we planned for it. And so I'm not saying quit your job and, right away, but I'm saying, do an audit and see what makes sense in your life personally and professionally. And then continue to keep it top of mind. So we do quarterly lunches where we look at our, kind of family goals and what we want to achieve, and to say, are we still continuing to move in the right direction? And then our audit each year is, are these still our goals? Are these still the things we want to achieve? Are we still happy? And so it's really a fun exercise to do as a family. And then sometimes we bring the kids in the conversation and sometimes we don't, but it's helpful.
Yeah, no, I love it. And I think that's so important for couples to continue to grow together, is make sure we're supporting each other's dreams, and that we know what each other's dreams are, and that we're working towards them. Because it's easy to get lost, like you said earlier, and raising the family, and then all of a sudden the kids are grown and moving out of the house, and you realize, wait, what are we working towards? What are our dreams anymore?
Right? Yes, exactly.
And I love your analogy of life on the highway. And I 100% agree. If you are in your lane and you're moving at the speed limit and you're loving life, stay there.
Yeah.
But if you've been in the rest stop for a while, we need to get your car back on the road.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, the rest stops, or use the restroom, get some water, stretch, get back to life, get back on the highway of life. All right, Kate.
And if you made a wrong turn at one point,
that's true.
Turn around and go back, right?
Turn around. Yeah, but if you take that exit,
the GPS is like, make a U-turn, right? Make a U-turn.
And if you take that exit to the part of town you're not supposed to be in, get out of there quick.
Yes, yes, yes.
Hightail it. All right, let's talk about your book because it's a holiday rom-com. So talk
It
to me about
is.
how you decided to write a holiday book.
Yes. So I read for fun a lot of light reads, right? And so I'm busy. I between kids and job and work and things and life, I'm busy. So I like to read books for fun that I easily can just pick up and put down. Right? I may not get back to it for another week, and I may just binge it for 3 days. I'm not sure, but it's easy to read. Um, Enjoyable characters. I can escape into another world, into another family, into another life, and just kind of be a fly on the wall of the book and into another story. So because I read like that, I wanted to write like that. So I started a book a couple of years back, and got about 3 chapters in, and then life got crazy, and it would happen to be during the holidays. So I was just in a holiday mindset at the
Mhm.
time, and so I got about 3 chapters in, put it down. Life got busy, and so then when I um, at last summer when I took a creative writing class just to kind of get my mindset back into writing again. I picked that story back up just to kind of play around with it, and then really got involved in the lives of the characters and building them out and creating them. But it is a very light, sweet read. You would find it on a Hallmark movie or a Netflix show, and it's about a husband and wife who, during the Thanksgiving holiday, get in a little bit of a tiff because the wife is type A and trying to plan for Christmas and already starting to get a little stressed out as soon as Thanksgiving is over. And the husband's saying, we have a month. Like, we are good. We're golden. We have some time before Christmas. And so ultimately, they decide to switch responsibilities. So the wife has to do all of the normal Christmas activities that the husband does. So she's climbing on a roof and trying to put up lights. She's got to fry a turkey. And he takes on her normal tasks and responsibilities for Christmas. So he's planning a Christmas party at the elementary school. He is buying all the gifts, right? And so they learn to appreciate each other, but there's some really funny, fun moments. I feel like anybody who's in a fun marriage would probably understand. Like, it's just things that happen or you wish could happen. It's just a really fun story. And so I'm excited to send it out into the world in November. I'm scared, but I'm excited to send it out into the world in November. So that way the story of the characters are Tommy and Allie. So Tommy and Allie can be out in the world.
Yeah, they can be having Christmas at all the different houses.
Yes,
So,
yes.
how much of this book was inspired by your guys' life?
I was the characters themselves are not, but things that may have that actually things that happened may have been a little inspired. I will say that.
Yeah.
The the husband is a little bit more laid back than my husband. My husband's a he wakes up in the morning and he's doing stuff. He's around, he's cleaning something, he's doing something, he's fixing something. This husband's not necessarily that way. So definitely not based on us.
Right.
However, I did lean on experiences that we've had because it's easier to write about things that
For
right? And
sure.
so, and I'm already working on a second book that I hope will come out in 2026. So I have loved this process. I've loved writing. I'm now enjoying the publishing piece of it. So it's it's been really fun.
What's been the most surprising part of the process to you that you found you enjoyed that you maybe didn't know you would enjoy?
Actually, the editing, to be honest.
Really?
I kind of wrote and got it all out of my head and on paper, and then I have a book coach, and so I gave it to my book coach, and I gave it to my mom, who actually she was a teacher, and all my whole life she would read my essays for school and book reports, and so I thought it was only fitting that she read the first draft. So she read the first draft and they gave me their feedback and where I didn't really explain enough about a situation or where they felt like I didn't build a character out enough. And so then I rewrote and then gave it to two friends and said, can you guys, read it? And so they did, and they gave me their feedback. And then I had professional editors take a look at it and give me their feedback. And so watching it morph from the original draft, which now looking back probably wasn't that great, to where it is now, it's surprisingly fun. It's been really surprisingly fun.
You mentioned something that I think is important, and that is that you had a creative coach. Is that how you termed it?
Yes, it's a book coach.
Book
So,
coach.
I have a book coach who she works in publishing, but she's also written two of her own books, and she lives in my nearby area. So we're actually going to lunch this week. But
Oh,
we
nice.
go to lunch or dinner about once a month, every other month, and I pick her brain and everything from how do I get an ISBN number to creatively, does this make sense? Does the storyline make sense? Right. And so she's just kind of, I lean on her for everything from a creative standpoint to a logistical standpoint. And so she has been a game changer in making this come to fruition.
Yeah, I think that's such an important concept is not specifically what your coach offers, but the fact that you sought out coaching.
Yes. Yes. I agree. And I think in every aspect of your life, that coach mentor relationship is really important. So I look at myself as a strong coach or mentor from a strategy goal setting perspective, because that's something that I feel like I'm skilled in, and then I lean on
Mm,
coaches and mentors for the areas that I could use a little kind of nudge or step in the right direction. And so it's nice I kind of get to be on both sides of it. I think everybody should. Everybody's an expert in something, right? And
yeah.
so, where can you help and coach others? And at the same time, where do you need that coaching as well?
How did you balance the ego on that? Because I think that's kind of what keeps people from maybe getting coached is the ego of I already know enough, or I don't, or the opposite side, the fear of judgment. Oh, does that show I'm weak if I'm getting coached? And how did you balance that to realize that's actually a strength to be coached?
For me, I call myself a recovering perfectionist, but I am still a little bit of a perfectionist. And I would say I just, it matters more to me that I put out a good
Mm,
product, right? Like I want to be proud of my work and I want to be proud of the output. And I just knew I needed a little help to do that, right? Especially when doing something new. So, I think that was really the drive for me to find someone to help me get there. I think also being a parent and watching your children get coached and seeing how helpful that is. It's just a reminder that we all need, you know, coaching or help. Professional athletes, they need coaches and,
yeah,
and trainers and things, right? And so musicians and singers, right? They've got vocal coaches and people that help
yeah.
them through. And so I don't think no matter what area of you're in or your level of expertise, it's always helpful to get some coaching.
Yeah, I think it's so important you put yourself in those circles, right? To where you're not the leader all the time, but you show up as a student.
Yes, are we okay?
Yeah,
I think
you're
I
good.
lost you for a second. Okay.
Yeah, where you show up as a student, right?
Yes. Yes. You definitely have to kind of change those hats over, right? And so, especially, in my household, right? I I don't want to say in charge of things,
Oh yeah,
but
but you're a
in
mom.
charge of things,
Yeah,
right? And so I kind of,
yeah.
and then you have to kind of step back and let somebody else do that
Mm.
sometimes. And so it is, you definitely need to be able to change hats very easily from being coached or coaching and from being stepping bit down from leader or stepping up and being the leader, right? I think being able to make those shifts is important.
Yeah, I love it. Kate, where can our audience follow you? Where can they find the book this holiday season and be part of all the awesome stuff you have going on?
Well, I have a website. It's www.kate-hendrickson.com. I'm also on Instagram. I'm also on LinkedIn. So I'll make sure you have all of the links. My website's getting built out now, but I have a feeling by the time this is airs, it'll be good to go, and you'll be able to purchase my book from there.
I love it. All right, Kate, I got one final question for you.
Okay.
If you
Hit
could
me.
go back and give advice to your younger self, that self of you that's standing at the crossroads before your big pivots, what would you tell her about purpose, reinvention, and embracing her changes?
I think I would just give her the confidence to trust your gut, right? And because it's so easy to second guess yourself, especially when you're making what you think is life-changing decisions, right? It's so easy to second guess yourself. But I think if I could go back and travel in time and talk to myself, I would tell myself, trust your gut, listen to your heart. You're smarter than you even know, right? Like you'll be okay. You'll be okay.
Mm, I love it. Such good advice. Kate, it's been an honor to have you on the show and to share your message with our community. We can't thank you enough, my friend.
Oh, Jerrod, great, great, great talking to you as well.
And remember, team, life is far too short to live any other way than on purpose. We will see you all again next week.